6-3. Review what you know about graphs as you complete parts A through D below. All right, so we're looking at this graph and we're going to be answering these questions. So the first question is find the equation of the line graphed at right. Okay, so we need to find the equation for this line. And we remember on our Chapter 4 toolkit that if we want to build the equation for a line, and here's one form of an equation for a line, which is y equals mx plus b, all we need to do is find m, which is the slope of the line, and b, which is the y-intercept of the line. And if we have those two things, we can plug them in and we have the equation for the line. All right, so let's do that right now with this particular line. Okay, so on this line, let's go ahead and write the equation again. Y equals mx plus b. And we know this is our slope. And this is going to be the y-intercept. Okay, so if we're looking at this line, we see that it crosses the y-axis right here. And so this is actually 1 on the y-axis. So we know that b is going to be 1. So we can start writing the equation. Y equals, and we don't know what the slope is yet, so I'll leave a space there, but I'll put in x plus, and we know that b is 1. So I'll put that in. Okay, so now we need to figure out what is the slope. So if we increase x by 1 by going to the right, then how far do we have to go and in what direction to meet the line again? In this case, we have to go down 1, 2 units to get to the line again. So there's our slope triangle, and it looks like to get down to the line again, we have to have a -2. So for every increase in x, we have to go down 2 on the y-axis. So our slope is going to be -2. So let's write that in now. All right, so that's our equation for the line. We have the slope right here, and we have the y-intercept right there. All right, so next, what are its x and y intercepts? All right, we know what the y-intercept is. That's right here. So we can just write the y-intercept is, and I'm going to use a set of coordinates because it is a point on the on this set of axes. So the x is going to be 0, but the y-intercept is 1. So the coordinates for the y-intercept are 0 and 1. Now the x-intercept is going to have a y value of 0 because it's the point where the line crosses the x-axis. And here it looks like it crosses the x-axis at about 1/2 or 0.5. So I'm going to put 0.5 for the x-axis. All right, so now it says that on your own graph paper, you should graph the line. And so we will do that right now. All right, so we've got a piece of graph paper And this is problem 6-3. And we're going to graph this line. So we'll make a quick set of axes. So this is X, this is Y. All right, and this line needs to, we know it needs to cross the y-axis at 1 and the x-axis at 1/2. And we also know that the slope is -2, so I can put another point there, over 1, down 2, and we can go in the opposite direction. All right, so now I can draw a line with a ruler, hopefully. Okay. Okay, so there's our original line. And so now we've done C. And the next thing that they would like us to do is on the same set of axes, graph a line that is parallel to the line graphed at right and goes through the origin 0, 0. Find the equation of this new line. Okay, so we know that it goes through this point, 0, 0. And we know that it's going to be parallel to this line. So if it's parallel, that means it has to have the same slope as this line does. And so every time we go over 1, we'll have to go down 2. So over 1, down 2. And the same thing going in the opposite direction. If we go back 1, we go up 2. Back 1, up 2. Okay, so now we can draw this parallel line that we have that goes through the origin. Didn't draw that very well. Okay, so there's our parallel line. And so now we need to write the equation for this line. So we'll do the same thing that we did before. So we know that it goes through the axis at 0. So if I write the equation for the line, y equals mx plus b. So my original equation was, let's go back and look at that. My original equation was y equals -2x plus 1. And so we know that it has to have the same slope. So because the slope is right there, I know that part has to be the same. So y equals -2x, because it does have the same slope. But the y-intercept is not the same. The y-intercept is at 0, 0. And what I could do is write plus 0, but we don't really do that with equations. And so instead, I'm just going to leave that plus 0 off. And this is the equation for the line that's parallel to our original line that goes through 0, 0. It's y equals -2x plus b.